everyone, Andrew from WiZDOM here, and I'm really excited to be bringing you a whole new series. And that series is called What Do I Do Next? So this series will be all about, depending on your situation and what you're looking for out of your property journey, what types of deals make sense to look at to continue your property journey towards the financial goals that you've set. And you know what? It's something that a lot of people struggle with. You understand your situation. A lot of the time you've approached banks and other people around potentially what kind of next property could you buy? And often you're getting an answer that you don't like, in the sense of you might even be overcommitted with your current situation and your borrowing power isn't what you wanted it to be. And so really, again, a lot of people find themselves in this situation. And I can say that I have helped thousands of people right around Australia help make this decision around, based on their situation and where they want to go with their property journey, what type of deal makes sense for them to do next. Now, of course, this is not one type fits all. And so as a result of that, it's really a case of you understanding your situation and what makes sense for you in your property journey. Property journeys are very individualistic. It's not a case of just because someone is doing one particular thing, that makes sense for you to do as well. But before we get into all of the various positions and I guess, some types of deals that I would be thinking about for those situations, I thought it was really important to firstly understand a few fundamentals. And the key that sits behind all of that is really getting a good understanding of what your current position looks like. Two major parts to that: income and, of course, your current available equity. So firstly, income. I'm not really talking here about just how much money do you earn, but I'm really talking about how does that translate to borrowing power? Because you can have a huge income, but if you also have a lot of debt that is, I guess, drawing on that income, well, the reality is that your borrowing power may not be what you want it to be. So the first step here is really understanding how does your income translate to borrowing power? And there's a number of ways to go about that. Of course, I'll talk at the very end of this series about doing a finance strategy review with a WiZDOM finance professional, which would help you through this and help you make these decisions. But there are also a ton of other ways to get it. There are lots and lots of online servicing calculators and borrowing power calculators that you can seek out. And effectively, you're just going to need to input all of your existing situation, and it's going to start to give you some answers about how your income is translating to borrowing power. In other words, how much more debt can you take on? Now, another key consideration in that, of course, is, are you looking at doing this next deal as a principal place of residence deal, in that you're going to live in it, and as a result of that, you won't be earning any rental income? Or is this going to be an investment property and you'll get some rental income? Because, of course, one consideration is that additional rental income will drive your overall income and, of course, increase borrowing power as well. So I'll encourage all of you as a first step to understand what your borrowing power looks like, because it's certainly critical when it comes to making decisions about the next type of deal. So the other key part around understanding your position is current available equity. Now, what do I mean by current available equity? So what current available equity is about is essentially, it's how much cash can you access now. Now, the reason I talk about cash as opposed to equity that you currently have in property or other assets that you have is that we need this money to be free and available to do two things. If you're actually buying a property as part of your property strategy moving forward, then you're going to need it available for your deposit and pay for costs and, of course, cover any strategy costs that you've got as well. I think this gets confused a lot with just, I have equity available in my property. And that's certainly a situation we'll deal with in the videos. But really what we're looking to get here is current available equity. So some considerations for this is, obviously, how much cash have you got in the bank? How much money have you got sitting in your offset accounts or potentially redraw for your existing facilities? And also, do you need to or should you go through the process of making as much of your property equity available as possible, which is a process we would refer to as getting market ready. It's all about getting you positioned to go into the market and buy your next property. Another consideration is, do you have assets that you would be happy to convert into cash, that they're quite liquid and you would want to go through the process of starting to do that, to put that money in the bank to start to be formulate part of your overall and maximizing your current available equity overall. Because, of course, these two things very much drive the scope of your next property deal. You know, what kind of purchase price could you look at? What kind of strategies can you afford to be able to deploy on that property as well? So they're really two important key factors. So I would encourage you, before you thought too much more about what property deal is next, getting a very good understanding of these two numbers, because it's going to play a critical role in you choosing your next property deal. Now, one other thing that I find is really overlooked when it comes to people looking at their next deal is, what are you actually looking to get out of your property journey? I have this conversation more often than you can think, where a lot of people will bring a deal to me to go, Andrew, I'm looking at this deal. It's a good deal. How do I make it work? And quite often my first question or my second question will be, well, where are you trying to go with your property journey? Because the truth is, different types of deals will take your journey in a different direction. And the other truth to that is there's no best deal, right? There's only the best deal that suits your situation, your available time, your experience, and your position as at right now. So a lot of people ask me, well, what's the best deal? There isn't a best deal. There's only a best deal for you. And then a lot of other people often are looking at properties where I have difficulty reconciling that particular property or that deal with where they say to me that they want to go with their property journey as well. So I think that's a really important consideration. You know, is this about that you want to create enough positive cash flow that you can get, you know, you can give up your day job? Is it something you just like doing on the side because and to maximize your wealth because you quite enjoy what you're doing on a day in, day out basis? You know, is it that you want to create an enormous property empire and live off the benefit of all of that? The truth is, what everyone wants from a goal and aspiration perspective is different. And it's absolutely okay that yours is different from everyone else's, because again, it's all our own property journey. You're all living your own life. And I think it's absolutely critical to make decisions that make sense for you, not necessarily what other people think you should be doing. So I'd encourage all of you to spend a little bit of time on thinking about, well, what is it that you want out of your property journey? Now, it's equally okay if you don't have a specific or very definite answer around that. At the end of the day, if you broadly have a bit of an idea about where you would like to go and why, well, that's going to help drive the right property journey for you and the right first or next deal decision for you as well. So another consideration in that is what strategies make sense for you as well. So what I mean by that is from a time perspective, an experience perspective, and obviously your overall position and the amount of money available to you are really important consideration as well. Because there are lots and lots and lots of different property strategies that you can deploy, and all of them, truthfully, have benefits and also pros and cons. That's the reality. So some are more time hungry than others. Some are very remote. Some are paper shuffling. Some are that you are picking up paintbrushes and hammers and going to work itself. And again, there's no right answer for everybody. There's just the right answer for you. If you're a little bit unsure about that, what I would say is that I often encourage people to consider properties or deals that are in line with their long-term goals. So what I mean by that is that if you can imagine yourself in 5 or 10 years and you wake up and you are a property developer, so you are out there doing townhouse projects, unit projects, that kind of thing as well. It may be large subdivisions, that kind of thing, and that appeals to you and you think that's a lifestyle and a life that you would like to live. Well, then I encourage people to, as best as possible, bring that future back into their current situation and focus on deals that make sense in that journey where you are building that skill set, building that experience towards that end. So if you were going to be a developer, for argument's sake, then you might be looking at doing small construction projects or small subdivisions, because that is going to build your knowledge and experience in that world, and it is absolutely applicable when you go up in that world when it comes to dollars and time and experience and everything else there. You'll be building that up as you work towards that end goal. So look, very broadly talking about different types of property deals, because I think this is important. So generally speaking, deals fall into two categories. One is a manufactured growth strategy and the other is a cash flow strategy. So just breaking that down, what exactly are they and why do I refer to them like that? Well, a manufactured growth strategy is exactly that. Rather than buying a property and waiting for capital growth to occur for that property to increase in value, this type of deal is a deal where we're going into it and then executing a strategy to deliberately grow that property or the value of that property over a short period of time. So if we were talking about the types of deals that are manufactured growth strategy, essentially you are actively doing something to that property. it's a renovation, it's a subdivision, it's a construction, or something active to effectively push that property value over a short period of time so that you can sell it for a higher amount of money, receive all of the money back, extinguish any debt that you've got on that property, and obviously take that profit and move on with your next deal. So that's manufactured growth strategy. And then on the other side of that, we've got cash flow strategies, and cash flow strategies are quite different. There, essentially, we are looking for properties that will generate positive cash flow now and forever into the future. So they're very different in the sense of when we look to do a cash flow strategy, generally, we're not looking to do that for a short period of time. It's a property that we're going to own and potentially keep in our portfolio forever. And why wouldn't we? If it's covering all of its cost and it's generating positive cash flow back to our position, and we can live off of that and that can supplement our lifestyle, well, why wouldn't we be looking at that? Now, most people, of course, want to do cash flow strategies all of the time. Why wouldn't you? The thing about them is generally speaking, they take capital out of our total situation. So what I mean by that is that cash flow strategies often don't increase in value significantly over a short period of time. And so it can take quite a period of time to be able to get our deposit and our strategy cost back from that property to be able to continue moving our journey forward. So a consideration for us always when it comes to going into a cash flow deal is how are we going to get our capital back to be able to continue to move forward? And that probably brings me to a really important point here. And that's, well, what rhythm do most investors get into when it comes to their property strategy and their property journey? The rhythm that most people get into is this. Usually what we're doing is we're doing manufactured growth strategy style deals to build up our current available equity and the capital available to us. And then when we're in a comfortable situation with regard to how much capital we've got, how much money we've got in the bank, what our current available equity position looks like, well, then we will take some of that and do a great cash flow deal. And in that way, we know that we can put that deposit, that strategy cost into that property, and it doesn't matter for us because we've retained enough money to be able to then go on and continue to do manufactured growth strategy deals. So the manufactured growth strategy deals, we go deal, deal, deal. We take some of that capital, we take some of that available equity, we take that across, do a cash flow deal, know that we're never going to get that back, or potentially we won't get that back for a significant period of time, but it won't matter because we've kept this pool of current available equity large enough to be able to continue to do manufactured growth strategy deals and, of course, build that up again. And all of my experienced long-term property investors who are, well advanced in their property journey, they really do operate like that, or they operate as a version of that. Lots of manufactured growth strategy deals, steal the capital, go to a great cash flow deal, more manufactured growth strategy deals, steal the capital, go and do a great cash flow deal. And in that way, they're building themselves a really great property portfolio, which is generating the positive cash flow for them. And at the same time, they're building their overall capital, their overall wealth, their overall current available equity position as well. So hopefully all of that is really valuable to you when it comes to the considerations that you should be thinking about as you're thinking about, well, what is the right next deal for me? I really look forward to bringing you this series where we work through a bunch of positions and a bunch of situations, and we will talk through, well, from my perspective and in my experience, what do I think are great deals for that particular situation moving forward. I look forward to bringing you those videos soon. Until then, happy investing and bye.